7 centuries after the fall of Rome, Europe lay in ruins. The roads that once carried knowledge now led only to silence. Kingdoms fought each other for scraps of power, and disease, famine, and fear ruled the land, while Europe forgot its libraries and art. For across the Mediterranean, a new civilization had risen. One built not on conquest, but on knowledge, unity, and light. From the deserts of Arabia, Islam had transformed heart and minds. And soon, that light would cross the sea to a palace called Al-Andalus. In 711 CE, Spain was under the crumbling rule of King Roderick, and his divided Visigoth noble betrayal spread faster than loyalty. One of the Roderick's rivals, Count Julian, reached out the Muslims of North Africa asking for their aid. Little did he know that his letter would spark one of the greatest transformations in human history. The government of Ifriqiya, Musa ibn Nusayr, chose his best general, a fearless Berber warrior named Tariq ibn Ziyad, to lead the expedition. Tariq's army was small, barely 7,000 men, but their faith was immense. They boarded wooden ships and crossed the Strait of Gibraltar under moonlight, the waves crashing like thunder as they stepped onto foreign soil. Tariq gazed at the towering rock before him, a symbol of strength and resolve. From the day it would bear his name, Jabal al-Tariq, the Mount of Tariq, today known as Gibraltar. When some soldiers hesitated, afraid of the mighty Visigothic army ahead, Tariq made a decision that echoed through time. He ordered his men to burn their ships. Flame rose high into the sky as he proclaimed, "Behind you is the sea, before you is the enemy. By Allah, there is no escape but victory or martyrdom." In that moment, every heart in his army burned with courage. There was no turning back, only destiny ahead. Soon after, the Muslims faced King Roderick's vast army near the river Guadalete, outnumbered nearly 10 to 1. Tariq raised his hand in prayer, invoking Allah's help. The battle raged for days, steel against faith. Then the tide turned. Roderick's men broke ranks, and the king himself vanished, never to be seen again. The victory opened the gates of Libya. A new chapter of history had begun. As the Muslims advanced, city after city opened its gates, not from fear but from hope. The people of Spain had long suffered under corruption and oppression. Tariq promised them fairness, safety, and peace. Under the Islamic rule, for the first time in generations, justice placed tyranny. The lands that were once divided began to heal under the principles of Islam, equality, scholarship, and tolerance. By 756 CE, the Umayyad prince al-Rahman established the empire of Córdoba, creating a center of learning that would rival Baghdad itself. Al-Andalus became a place where Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived, studied, and built together. It was not just an empire, it was a beacon of civilization. Streets were lit, libraries flourished, and scholars translated Greek, Persian, and Indian language into Arabic, preserving the wisdom of the ancient world. From astronomy to medicine, from architecture to poetry, Al-Andalus shined brighter than any kingdom of Europe. While other cities slept in darkness, Cordoba alone had more than 70 libraries, 300 public baths, and paved streets. Muslim scholars like Al-Zahrawi, Ibn Rashid, and Zarkadi would inspire the European Renaissance. Centuries later, knowledge was not hidden, it was shared, nurtured, and celebrated. Unlike the rest of medieval Europe, Al-Andalus thrived on tolerance. Churches, synagogues, and mosques stood side by side. Jews and Christians became part of intellectual and political life of the land. This coexistence, known as La Convencia, showed the world that peace and progress could walk in hand. It was the soul of Andalus, a civilization of hearts, not just walls. For nearly 800 years, Al-Andalus stood as living example of what faith, knowledge, and unity could build. tough, it eventually fell to time and politics. Its legacy never faded. The words of its scholars traveled far beyond its border, awakening Europe from centuries of darkness. Al-Andalus was not just a chapter of Islamic history, it was the bridge between worlds. The light that once burned in Córdoba still shines, reminding us that true power lies not in swords but in wisdom.